Okay. It's been like 3 days since I started that other video. Man, adjusting to 3 kids is hard. But we're doing it, and I thought that I would go ahead and finish the video that has been on my mind since I started it, and everybody's been asking what my story is, so bear with me. It's going to be a long story, so go grab your drinks, go grab your snacks, and come back with me and we'll talk about it. I do stuff like that when I get nervous, so hold on. And I apologize in advance because I'm filming on my phone, but I turned it around because the front-facing camera is awful. So let me just double check that this is recording. It is. What? Let's move on with it then. And if my face looks lopsided, I'm so sorry. I'm starting to like hook my camera up, my real nice camera, to my computer, so that way I'm not using my cell phone anymore, and I'm actually using a real camera for my videos, so they're better quality, but no one cares about that. Let's move on. Okay, let's go back, because I think that there's a significance in knowing that my postpartum depression and anxiety didn't just start at postpartum for me. It was a lot of events leading up to the crash, if you will. Hold on, I want to make sure. Okay, so I haven't had depression my whole life, but I've suffered with anxiety, and I need to be careful with what I say on here because I made a video about my parents when I first started YouTube, and it caused my father to show up at my work and scream at me at the top of his lungs outside of my place of work, and that was not fun. So I need to be careful for that reason. But growing up, we didn't have a very functional family that took vacations together and watched, the Brady Bunch. We had a lot of violence in our home, and so for as long as I could remember, I would hide in my room with my brother Billy and listen to the screaming outside of our door. So that was the start of my anxiety, and it didn't crash until Liam. And this is my postpartum story with him, and then what I'm experiencing now, and everybody else that's going through this, and everyone else that is looking up videos to find other people that are going through postpartum depression. Please look in the description box for my email and email me, because I would love to talk to other people going through it, or just people going through depression in general. It's such a taboo subject, and a lot of the time we don't feel like it's worth talking about because it's an invisible illness or it's not a real disease, but it is. It is your mind attacking you, and I'll get to that part later. So I had Liam. The story about that and if you want to know more about this, because I'm not going to get into that right now, Thomas and I were together for a month. I was 18 years old when we conceived Liam. If you want to know that story, man, it's a good one. Let me know in the comments below. We were together for a month. We got pregnant with Liam, and at my first appointment, I found out I had cancer, and that is a video that I will link in the description below, my cancer story. And I decided to keep my baby. I was 18, living with my dad. I did have a job at the time, which ironically I was a condom specialist. Quit that job though. And, you know, at first I wasn't really going to make it work with him, and I didn't want to just because we were having a baby together. But, oh, and the echo in here, I'm sorry, I'm hiding in my bathroom from my 2 little gremlins that look for me all throughout the house. And it's quiet in here, so I apologize. But, we decided to make it work, not because if we were having a baby. I mean, I have to say, honestly, we probably wouldn't have ended up together if I didn't get pregnant. But after we embraced it, we fell in love. You know, he is the man of my dreams. So, we had Liam. He was living with me after that at my dad's because I was 18. I was still a kid. And we weren't on like government assistance, nothing, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you know, he had a job and we were saving up and we were trying to be responsible, and we thought that because we were trying to be responsible, we could have a baby. And I was a damn good mom, I have to say, for being 18, never partied again, never went out, like I didn't want to. I wanted to be with my baby. But a couple of days after he was born, I felt it started coming on, and I didn't know of the baby blues or postpartum depression, or that it was even a thing. And that sounds so stupid and ignorant, not arrogant, because that's just, everybody knows about it, but I didn't. And I'm going to be completely 100% honest with you guys, as I am. I don't ever pretend to be perfect, but I haven't admitted this to very many people. I could name the people on one hand, because of how terrifying and awful it is. I was never going to harm him or myself, but I remember thinking, if he were to die in his bassinet tonight, I'm not sure I would care. In fact, I'm not sure I would be sad at all. I don't think I would give it a second thought. That's what I was thinking. This lasted the first month or so of his life. I wasn't ever going to do anything to him. And if I was, I would have, sought help. I just thought, after researching, that I found it was the baby blues, and that this is normal. And, if you have thoughts of harming yourself or your child, seek help. And it didn't get that bad yet. But I remember all of the nights, and new moms, I just want to reach through my phone and give you guys a big hug, because I know what it's like to be a new mom to a new baby, and to be young. To boot, it's just, you go from taking care of yourself and not even living yet to having this little baby that requires just 24/7. That sounds so stupid, because of course that's what it is. You know that when you're pregnant, but it's so much responsibility. That sounds so stupid. It's just more than you could ever think that it would be. Like, of course you knew you weren't going to sleep, but I didn't know how terrified I would be to be a mom. I didn't know that I would sit up at night worrying about stupid things that you shouldn't worry about, like him starting kindergarten. I stayed up crying. Little things like that. Every decision you make, what you buy at the grocery store, it has to do with your children. And those little things like that, I wasn't prepared for. The amount of emotion a child takes, I wasn't prepared for. So when he was really young and it was in his first month of life, I remember thinking, I don't know how to fit this thing into mine and Thomas's life. I don't feel connected to him. I don't feel like he is mine. I don't feel like I want him. And let me make sure this is still recording. Yeah, it's okay. Sorry, because that would suck. I don't want to. Yeah, I didn't feel like I wanted him. And I didn't tell anybody that at the time, besides Thomas. And I said that I was working on it internally, and It was just something that women go through sometimes after they have a baby. And, you know, I had cancer surgery when I was pregnant with him. So it was a long pregnancy and a very difficult, painful pregnancy. But I hate to admit that I didn't want him when he was within that month. And I felt like I had ruined my life by having a baby. So what fixed this was going to my doctor, saying I just felt depressed and I didn't want to start on medication. But, you know, I talked to my doctor about what I was feeling, and we worked on some tools to try and bond more with the baby, to give myself a break. That is the number one tip I have for you guys. Accept the help. Accept the help. I wouldn't let Thomas be up with him in the middle of the night because I didn't want to put that burden on him. I assumed that because I felt this way about my perfect little baby that everybody else did. And that's just not the case. And I'm so glad that I listened to my doctor and I accepted the help, and I let my mom take him here and there. I let Thomas, you know, bond more with his son, because that's, of course, during the day, you know, spend as much time with your son as you want, but at night I thought that was my job, and I was breastfeeding and it wasn't his burden. And that was so stupid to think, because if you're a single mom, my hat is off to you. My sister was 17 when she got pregnant with her first baby, and she did it all by herself while the father was out doing meth, and she did it. I watched her struggle for months until she decided to move to San Diego to be with my sister for help, and she raised that little girl 100% by herself for the first year. So I can't even imagine being, you know, up at night by yourself with the baby when it's the loneliest time. And moms, you know what I mean. The baby won't stop crying, and I remember just sitting with him crying and thinking, what have I done to my life? And I never had anxiety or depression or anything like that before, nothing. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. But the minute I started accepting the help and focusing on me, and even going out to get my nails done once a month, it just completely changed me as his mom, and knowing that it was okay to have a happy mom, happy baby. You need to take care of yourself. You can't just say, I have this little baby, I need cold food, I need to be up all night. It's my responsibility. I chose to have him. I don't want to ask my mom to help. You can't do that, okay? Take a shower, give the baby to somebody, give the baby to his dad. It changed my life. And after that month, I was absolutely in love with him. I feel to this day, he's 5, terrible that I'm even admitting to the internet, to the whole world, that those were my thoughts about my son, that if he were to die, I wouldn't have cared. And I know that, you know, there's postpartum psychosis where there are moms that harm their kids and harm themselves, and that's obviously a million times worse, and it didn't get that bad, but it could have. And I don't want to see anybody going through that or even getting close to that. So like I said, if you don't want to talk to doctors or post in a comment or anything, just email me if you want someone to talk to, because I understand, and I will give the best advice I possibly can. So that was what I went through with Liam. Due to that and how terrifying for me it was, when I had Lorelai, I researched when I was pregnant with her just all the different things that I could do after her pregnancy to try to avoid it. The mindset that I can go in during her pregnancy, and then getting a birth dream, and this is why it was so important for me to have my birth that I wanted with Levi, because of what I went through with Liam. And I knew that what had happened since having Lorelai and getting pregnant with Levi, there was such a high chance for me to develop postpartum depression again. And I have. And I'm going to get into that. But it's different than it was with Liam. Make sure this is still recording. So stupid, I know. Next video is going to be on a real camera. But, so with her, I decided to, come on. Okay, I decided to, first thing, you know, I was married to Thomas. We were solid. Like, you know, obviously Liam, we were together for a month, so how solid could we have possibly been? We were solid. She was planned. We had finances in order, which was a big thing with Liam too, because we were still young. And I was in that mindset that I was a mother and I wasn't just Sarah anymore. I couldn't just go out with my friends anymore. And I had a close circle of people that I trusted that had kids too, and I left all of the other stuff behind. People that didn't have kids, that didn't accept me. I had a best friend of 10 years that we don't talk anymore. He was my gay best friend for 10 years. And he told me quite a few times he hated children, and we just slowly drifted apart. And he's pretentious now. I was his friend when he was this shy little, you know, theater. My phone ran out of space. Okay, so like I was saying, he looked up to me and liked, he said he got, like, you know, his funny personality and stuff from me. But we were best friends for 10 years and we drifted because I had kids. So I was accepting of things like that. And so she came. I had my dream birth it's okay to have a dream birth. In my last video, you know that I said, you know, all that matters is a healthy mom and baby, and I don't necessarily agree with that. Of course, all that matters is a healthy baby, but you are allowed to have a dream birth, and it makes a big difference. In my opinion, it really does. So with her, I found a midwife that I loved, and I interviewed quite a few, and I hired one that I loved. We had a plan. She was born at home. I can't say it was a peaceful candlelit home birth because I was screaming at the top of my lungs, but she was born at home and she was perfect. And I had my placenta made into capsules, which really helped. And I'm telling you, like, the benefits were no doubt the placenta, because I stopped taking it for like 2 to 3 days thinking, oh, I'm good. I'm happy. Like, I don't have postpartum. And then I just got so weepy within 24 hours and just sad. You're supposed to take like 4 pills a day, and then when you want to wean off, go to 3, go to 2, and I just stopped them. Bad idea. And then I got back on them, and within 24 hours, I was so cheerful and happy again. And those things, you put them in the freezer, and they last for up to menopause. Like, they last forever. So those were a lifesaver. I had so much energy. Like, my milk was booming. My skin was so clear. I was happy. It was just everything about that birth and her. It was just so perfect. Liam loved her. She was an easy baby, and that and the lack of sleep, hard baby, lack of sleep, 2 huge factors to getting postpartum depression. And I never got it with her. But when she was a year old, was she a year old? Yeah, I was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis, and that made me suicidal, because I didn't know what a flare was. And when you have something like lupus or ankylosing spondylitis or autoimmune diseases, you get a flare, which only lasts a few days. But during that flare, you're depressed. I was in so much pain. I couldn't play with my kids. I didn't want to live. I remember driving when I got diagnosed, because I thought what I was feeling was going to last forever. And that was the scariest fucking thought. It was the most pain I've ever experienced. thinking, I need to drive this car into this train, because there was a train. It was so stupid, and I'm like, where is this coming from? I have kids at home and a husband that loves me, but I couldn't see myself living with this disease that I had just barely heard of. And then I looked up the pictures of what people would look like, and it's those the humpback people. That's what I'm gonna look like. I'm gonna be a humpback person, and it was really, really scary. And so I went into a depression with that for a little bit. And about a month later, I had my first panic attack. And I was taking prednisone for my AS, which is a common, when you're in a flare, it's a steroid that gets you out of the flare, and then you take it for 5 days and then you're done. And I thought I took one, and I thought what the chemicals were like bad, or it was like a bad pill, and I thought I was dying. And I remember walking around my house. I called poison control, and I couldn't breathe, and I had hives everywhere, and my hands were numb, and my whole body was tingly. And Thomas rushed me to the emergency room at like 11 o'clock, and they gave me an Ativan and said it was a panic attack. And I saw a psychiatrist who diagnosed me with panic disorder and generalized anxiety disorder. And since then, I have panic attacks at least twice a week. And it's the stupidest shit. I see my kids playing on the playground, and if Lorelai's climbing up a ladder, I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Or if she's playing in a backyard in the summer and there's bees around, I physically cannot watch her. I have to go inside. And it's not a joke. It's an invisible illness that makes you crazy. I have more than the depression. The depression's bad when I'm in a flare, which is why I didn't contact you guys right after I had Levi, because I was in a flare as well as going through everything that I was going through. It makes me want to take myself out of the world and just crawl into a hole and die. So that's the depression part, but the anxiety part is something I struggle with on a daily basis. So because of those factors, let me just make sure it's recording. Okay. Because of those factors, I was really nervous going into Levi's pregnancy, which you guys saw my pregnancy video, finding out that we were pregnant, and you guys saw that I was shaking, and he was a surprise. And I remember turning off the camera after making that video, and I just sobbed for like 45 minutes because of my AS, and because of my anxiety, and because of just everything that had happened between having her and getting pregnant with him. I was scared shitless. Postpartum depression is the scariest thing that I've ever been through. And then you add ankylosing spondylitis into that. I was just terrified. So that's why I was so set on having my home birth. And I've gotten called negligent and stupid and I should kill myself because I wanted my baby to die, because I wanted to have my home birth, which is great, internet, but the people that know me, like you guys, my regular friends that watch my videos, the people I talk to, like you guys understand me and where my heart is and what I was thinking. And especially now is that I was trying to have as much control over hopefully not getting back that disease that I had. And I went into labor and I transferred, which was not bad. And I had him in the hospital and I had him unmedicated like I wanted. And I remember holding him after he was born, and I told Thomas, I'm so happy. Like, our family's complete. I am so happy. And then he had to stay there. And just, whew, like, I was good. I was solid. I I had my other kids at home, and I did feel like a piece of me was missing at all times, because I would be at the NICU for 6 to 8 hours every single day. I didn't miss one day. And I would miss my family at home, and then I would be at home, and I would miss my baby there, and I would constantly call the NICU to check on him, and it was so hard. It was so fucking hard. And I was like so proud of myself for holding it together, and then that last week came, and we kept getting like he's coming home this day, and then they would push it back, or he's coming home possibly next week, and I just kind of started feeling really defeated. And people on the internet were saying that there was something I did, so I started believing it was something I did, but it wasn't. And I asked so many doctors, and my doctors are honest with me. They would have told me, yes, it's this, or it was your disease, or it wasn't anything that I did wrong. But your mind, when you have these illnesses, make you think that you did. So I started feeling that same familiar feeling the last week, and I had already eaten my placenta raw the first 2 weeks, and he came home, and he's home now, and I'm not disconnected. I love him so much. I love my kids so much, and it's not the feelings that I had with Liam. It's more so with myself. I don't feel, and this is so stupid for just admitting this, like, to thousands of people if they wanted to watch this video, but I feel worthless, and there's no reason to feel that way. But I feel like I was stupid for having him because of my disease, and because I can't take care of my family the way that I want, or there are days where I have to feed them pizza instead of making them like a fresh dinner. And I'm like, why would I bring another child into that? Even though Thomas is amazing and he takes care of me and he completely understands and loves us, but as a mom, like, you feel like you have to be this person for your kids, and I felt like, why am I bringing another child into this? Fuck. It's just really hard living day to day with pain, and I can't explain it to anybody unless you know. Not even my dad believes me. Like, he's trying to take away my health insurance. And I try to tell him, like, beg him, please come with me to the doctor. Like, because I need treatment. I need to keep seeing my doctors. I need my cortisone injections, or I can't move my knees. Like, don't take away my insurance. But that's what I'm going through right now. I'm struggling between knowing that he's gonna have just as much of an amazing life as the other two kids have had, because I don't let this disease hold me back. Or am I gonna let this depression get worse and start regretting having him? Or I don't know. That's where I am now. So if I seem a little distant lately, that's why I'm trying to focus on it. And I do have a therapist this time, and I'm trying to count my blessings every day, because you have to. There's so many people out there that are just struggling so much more, and my heart breaks for them. But sometimes it's not enough to think that way, and I just feel like a failure. I feel like I failed my birth, and I failed him because he couldn't be with me the first month of his life. Even though he was with me every day, he wasn't with me at night, and that's the first 2 weeks are the bonding experience for mom and baby is really important, and I wasn't there. And because of that, I wasn't there for my other 2 kids because I was so fucked up, like, trying to deal with this because I didn't expect it at all. I thought that I would give birth at home, we would lay in bed, watch a movie, order pizza, and all would be jolly, and none of it, like, my vision was gone. And I had a sick child, like, in the NICU, and it's like, what the fuck? This wasn't a part of the plan. Maybe it was AS that took him from me like that. Maybe it was. Because it takes everything else from me. So, wow, I'm really sorry. I told you guys, I'm never gonna pretend to be perfect. This is real life, you know. Parenting is hard. And I'm trying. And I'm working on my postpartum depression, but like, the people that I talk to, I love you guys so much. And I know that it's, people laugh when people on YouTube say that to people that watch their videos, but since I actually talk to you guys, like, I really do, and your support means the world to me. I screenshot, like, certain comments so I could read them over and over again because it really gets me through a lot of the times where I feel worthless, and it really helps. So you guys are family. Thank you so much for watching this, and I'm really afraid of the feedback I'm gonna get, but that's my life. So, love you guys.